Well, good morning, lovely ladies and gentlemen. Steve Collins coming to you from beautiful San Antonio, Texas, the second most powerful, passionate, and purposeful coach and speaker in the world. Hope you guys are excited about this wonderful Friday. Friday is such a lovely day for so many people. And I'll begin with this as an example when we're talking about being in a funk. What is it about Friday that makes Friday feel like Friday feels? Let's address that as I go into the subject, as we have some other folks come online. Are you in a funk? Ever been in a funk? Know somebody who's been in a funk? Today I'm going to teach you how to shut the funk up so that you don't have to be subject to the funk. We'll make the funk subject to you. Fair enough? We're going to have fun today. Everybody tune in here. Anybody who's ever been in a funk is going to learn the secret to shut the funk up, and you will have victory over it. So what is it about Friday as an example? What is it about Friday that everybody likes? I'm glad you asked. What it is about Friday that everybody likes is it is a thought they think about Friday. Friday, truly, my friends, is no different than any other day if you were to look at it from a physical perspective. In fact, the sun doesn't rise and set, as we call it that. Let me remind you guys, we are on a spinning blue ball in the middle of outer space, just spinning around this thing that we call the sun, this giant gaseous ball that happens to be just perfectly far enough away that we don't freeze, and just perfectly close enough that we don't burn up. And there's this funky thing called an atmosphere that keeps us, from choking out. We can actually breathe air. And, we have this funky thing called gravity that holds us here so that we don't fly off into outer space. Isn't it amazing what a Big Bang could do? Ha ha! Y'all know I don't believe that. More faith in a Big Bang than to think in intelligent creation. So let's address that. Shakespeare says it this way in Hamlet. There is no good or bad, but thinking makes it so. There is no good or bad, but thinking makes it so is the way Shakespeare reveals it in Hamlet. In a funk, I'm about to teach you right now how to shut the funk up. You cannot keep a bird from flying over your head. You can keep the bird from landing in your hair and building a nest. What do you mean by that, Steve? Great question. You cannot control the first thought that hits your head. You can, there's the power, you can recognize that thought, choose to disagree with it and say, I'm not going to agree with that thought, and replace it with a more powerful thought that serves the purpose and the direction that you are headed. Let me give you a simple example like that. If somebody wanted to learn to play the guitar, they could buy a guitar, they could get some music, they can even hire a coach to teach them, and they sound terrible. They sound awful, and they get on it, and they keep selling themselves, I sound awful, I sound awful, I sound terrible, I'm no good at this, I'm no good at this, oh my gosh, and then they fade out, like most people learning something new. You don't have to agree with that thought, is the point that I'm making. What if you were taught or trained, let's say in coaching, or you were taught or trained by someone who disciplined themselves to teach others to think differently? What could you do? You could exert your power to choose a different thought. Same scenario. You get the guitar, you get the coach, you go home, you start practicing. The bird that flies over your head, that first thought you can't control says, man, I'm terrible at this. And you go, no, no, I'm not terrible at this. This is exactly how I'm supposed to sound because I'm learning. I'm learning something new. I'm supposed to sound exactly like this. I mean, I'm not going to pick this thing up and sound like Yngwie Malmsteen or Eddie Van Halen. There's no way. I mean, I've got to practice. Duh. Of course it sounds silly, but that's not because I'm no good. I'm learning. Do you see what I'm talking about, ladies and gentlemen? You see what I'm talking about? You get in an argument with your significant other. Now, I know that doesn't happen to anybody else. Everybody who knows me knows I've been married to Angela for 24 years. We have 7 kids. We have a phenomenal, passionate, powerful marriage. Yet she is a fiery Latina, which means I'm always 3 fights away from being stabbed in the chest. And she's got accurate chancla throwing power, and her chanclas have 7-inch heels on them. So there's that. I sleep with one eye open. When you are fighting with your significant other, you can say to yourself, the bird flying over your head, dang it, they're not listening to anything I'm saying. They always do this. They never do that. Or you can say, no, she must be having a rough day today. I think I'm just going to shut up and listen for a minute. She doesn't always do that. Duh. She doesn't never do that. Duh. I'm getting dramatic here. Let me just shut up. Listen. She must be having a rough day. You see, I couldn't stop the bird flying over my head, the first thought from an accusing statement. I could and choose to and do on the regs stop it, choose to disagree with it, even though it may be accurate. I can choose to disagree with it and tell myself something different. One of my little boys, Joshua, is very inquisitive, does a lot of reading in the Bible. He says, Dad, I'm a little confused about something here. It's saying right here in this scripture verse, it says, let the weak say I am strong. Let the poor say I am rich because of what the Lord has done for me. Daddy, isn't that lying? I said, Joshua, that's a really great question for a 12-year-old. No, man, it just means that in the midst of your circumstance, you can speak by faith the outcome you intend to see show up. You can speak something different. You can give him a praise on credit ahead of time before the stuff shows up that he tells you is on the way. Y'all gonna have to watch that again to get that. That was good stuff. Woo! Hold on a second, I'm getting excited now. You get to speak. You get to think what you choose. You are not a victim of the thoughts that hit your head. If you do not like the way you feel, you can choose a different thought. There are a couple practices. Now, when I say, are you in a funk? Let me teach you how to shut the funk up. I'm not talking about someone with a clinical, biological depression, a chemical issue. I'm talking about somebody who is in a habitual pattern of negative thinking, negative expectations, and negative conversation. This is what I'm talking about. So when you are in a habit of negative thinking, negative expectations, negative conversations, it's time to stop that. You got to stop that. Nobody likes being around you. Nobody likes hanging around you except other people who do that stuff. And it's nasty, man. Y'all, it's like people need a shower after they hang out with people like you. Don't get your feelings hurt. Get upset enough to change, all right? So it's also stated like this in my favorite book, The Bible. Be transformed by the renewing of your mind. If I am instructed that I can be transformed by the renewing of my mind, that means I have the ability to tell my mind what to think. You have the ability to tell your mind what to think. In a funk? Shut the funk up. Let's just shut it up. You shut it down. Perfect example. I was making a video about a month ago, driving down the road, talking about a subject very similar to this, about the way you feel is based on the story you're telling yourself or the thoughts you are having. Most of you are victims of your thoughts, never questioning them. They hit your head and you automatically think that's truth. You don't realize you can stop it, you can shut it up, and you can replace it with something else. I was driving down 1604 on my straight shot to work like I do all the time, and I said, for instance, if you're having a wonderful morning, you wake up in the morning, the birds are singing, the sun is shining, your kids are all excited, they clean their rooms that night, your spouse gives you a gigantic kiss and hug and whoop whoop, maybe a little something something, and your morning is going amazing. You jump in the car, it's full of gas, it smells like the wonderful stuff that your spouse put in there with the Febreze stuff, and there's a cute little note, I love you, I can't wait to get home for round 2, baby. You are on fire, man. I mean, you're just having the day of your life. And you get on the highway. And as soon as you get on the highway, some jackwad cuts across and cuts you off and you almost run off the road. Now, when I was doing this video a month ago, that's exactly what happened while I was saying it. While I was saying it, I literally had someone go across the road. I asked the question, how many of you would that ruin your day? How many of you would that steal your joy? How many of you would that cause you to get all jacked up and get in a funk because you had not yet learned how to shut the funk up? How many of you would be messed up by that? I'm going to say most of you, okay? Because of the story you would tell yourself. Now, I was able to demonstrate on live video the story I told myself. And I just, woohoo, that really happened. Dang. And like 2 other people around me were flipping them off, and it was It was ugly, y'all. And you know what I said? I said, no, man. I am in control of my thoughts in my morning. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to choose anger or freak out as a response. What if that person has a child with a broken arm in the front seat and they are rushing to the emergency room? What if that person is driving his wife to labor and delivery because she's 9 centimeters dilated? What if that person had just gotten a call from the hospital saying, it doesn't look good, he doesn't have much more time, get here as quickly as you can? Do you see? The story you choose to tell yourself changes the response you have and the feelings you have around that. I ain't gonna let nobody rob my joy, y'all. My joy is priceless. The joy of the Lord is my strength, and can't nobody have my strength without my permission. You gonna ask for it? You ain't gonna get it. I ain't gonna give nobody no power over the way Steve Collins feels about his self. I choose the thoughts I choose to think. Same situation. I almost got runt off the road. A couple other people almost got runt off the road. They freaked out. I guarantee you it ruined most of their days. Not me. I was just like, bless their heart. Man, they must be in an emergency. They must have been experiencing this, or this. Let me tell you, I've been in all 3 of those circumstances. That's how I know that somebody could be driving like that. So the story you choose to tell yourself is going to affect the way that you feel. Do you not like the way you feel? Are you in a funk? Do you want to shut that funk up? Then tell yourself a different story. Tell yourself a different story. Well, isn't that lying, Steve? No, babe doll. That's speaking by faith. That's declaring what you want to come into your life. That's speaking your intended outcome. Because you know, your body and mind work together. They believe what your little old mouth tells it. I feel so sick. I feel so sick. Sucker, you gonna feel sick. We have a saying in the Collins household, and it's this: sickness touches my body and dies. This is something we say. Oh, I know you think I'm freaky. It's good. It's okay. Who's happier in this video? Me or you? Come on, I'm trying to inspire y'all to something bigger than you're currently experiencing. Sickness touches my body and dies. I don't get sick, y'all. I just don't do it. It tries to hit me. I'm never a sick person getting well. I'm a well person fighting off sickness. You know, you can't come at me. It's what I speak. It's what I declare. It's what I say. It's what I get. My body hears that. It knows it. Sickness tries to hit. Do I have allergies? I ain't got no allergies, man. You know why? Because allergies touch my body and die. They can't stand it. Steve Collins doesn't get allergies. Allergies get Steve Collins. It's a problem for them. They have an issue with it. It's what you say. It's the story you tell yourself. Are you in a funk? Would you like to shut the funk up? Then tell yourself a different story. If all of your thinking has brought you to a place today that you don't like, then my love, tell yourself a different story. Ain't nobody gonna do it for you. Do it yourself, and it'll change your world. Have a great Friday, guys.